What is happening, everybody? Thanks for checking out Hunt, Shoot, Live. On today's episode, I am not only going to share a turkey hunt with you, but I'm going to take one of those turkeys that's taken during this hunt, and I'm going to make a wingbone call. So I'm going to show you guys how to make a turkey wingbone call. It's a really simple trophy that you can make out of your turkeys that you kill. You can see right here I've got a plaque that I've did all of this myself, and just over the years have hung different wingbone calls off of it and beards and things. But here's what the plain simple wingbone looks like. You can get creative. Here's one that I've done a little more creative work to, and just sort of makes a really cool trophy out of your kills, and it's something that you can do yourself at home with just a little bit of time. It's not hard, it just takes time. And I'm terrible with a wingbone call, but here's what they sound like. That's the basics of a wingbone call. This big one. So anyway, I don't use any of mine to call turkeys in, but they're super cool trophies that you can make out of the birds that you kill. So not only you get to eat them, but you can do your own taxidermy, all kinds of cool stuff. So anyway, hope you enjoy the hunt. Hope you enjoy learning how to make your own turkey wingbone call. Here's the bird. It just come out of the ravine. Let's get us some strutting. Look at that. Look at that. Rock. Wait. Rock him. Rock him. Let him lay. Check you out.
Man, it was on a string. It comes straight toward us, about 27, 28 yards. I shot it. I was so excited. It's my first bird ever. This is my first turkey ever. It's my only second hunting season, turkey season. A spring gobbler is nothing more exciting.
So Jared scored on a big bird, nice bird. Congrats, Jared. It's beautiful. That's his first turkey ever. So super cool. Got his first turkey, good Tom with a shotgun. I'm going to show him how to show him and you guys how to. I've got his wings here from his big Tom, and we're going to make some wingbone calls. You can make some pretty cool stuff with wingbone calls, and it's don't cost you anything, just a little bit of your time. So you'll get 2 wingbone calls out of each turkey that you kill, because you get one from each wing. So let's dig in. Obviously, you'll probably want to do this outside, unless you're a bachelor, then you can do it inside. But just get me a good sharp big old knife, and Jared put these out this morning. They're not totally thawed, but we'll do the best we can. It's pretty hard to screw this up. You will find 3 sections of the wing, but it's actually only the first 2 that you're going to use. You got one big bone, and then the second bone is it's kind of 2 bones together, and then the third bone out on the end is real small. We won't use that. So we're going to try to clear some of this away and get down to those bones. Once you work your way around the end, you'll see those knuckles. Once you get around the knuckles, then you can turn your knife and just peel it down, and follows down to the next joint. Now you can actually save these feathers and do some other cool stuff with them. You can just cover them in salt or borax and let them sit for a couple weeks, and make you some nice wing presentations and stuff. Same thing with the wings as you would do with the tail fan. Just cut away a little bit of that excess meat, put some salt and some borax on it, let it sit for 2 weeks, and there you go. Of course, at that point it's going to be stiff. You can see we're gonna end up using this piece and this piece. This is the bone that's actually, this is the section that's 2 bones. And I'll tell you right now, it's easiest to do this you will save yourself a lot of trouble if when you get home and you take all your pictures of your trophy turkey and you pull the meat out, just go ahead and cut the wing up. Because when it's freshly killed, everything is really, really easy to work with, as opposed to when it's cold and frozen like this. But we're getting there. So when you get down, now you can see we've got the last, this is the last section. I'm not going to trim all this off because we don't use this part of the bone. But you definitely want to make sure that we don't destroy these two bones here on this portion. So I want to find that joint, kind of cut around it, cut loose some of that connective tissues. See how I found between the connective tissues and I cut in right there. And then I'm just kind of going to give it a little bit of a twist. Put my knife back in and pop that right off. And there's me some more trapping feathers to use next year when I trap. Alright, now I am going to just go ahead and I'm not going to painstakingly get all the meat off of this yet. But I am going to get the feathers off. Because when I put this in my pot here, we're going to boil it here in a little bit. It's just kind of helps the process. If you can get, don't go through and feel like you have to go ahead and get all of the connective tissues and stuff. But obviously the more that you get off right now, the less time it's going to take it to boil out. So just kind of going to get some of this easy meat that's hanging on the outside of the bones. Now here, I fibbed. I'm going to go ahead and cut this out so I can show you. Now obviously if you can do this with a hen. Hens are going to have much smaller bones. The smaller the bird, the smaller the bones. This has got some pretty good sized bones on it. This bird was 17, 18 pound bird. But you can see this is the first piece that will be the top of the wingbone call, and then these two bones will make up the second and third arm of the call, and your mouthpiece is this smaller bone right here. So that's one of them. That's as much as I'm going to trim that down. We'll boil the rest of that out. I'm going to get to the other one now, but I'll use the Dremel and cut the ends off of it here in a second. So I got my Dremel broke out here. I mean, you can use a hacksaw. Totally, I've used the hacksaw before. Dremels, though, if you have one, it just makes life easier. All I'm going to do is, on the biggest bone here, I'm just going to come, you can't use a whole lot of the end of it. So I just want to cut right here toward the end. You see it turns up and makes a big ball. I want right below that big ball. So I'm just going to turn this on, cut that part off. Let me just say, there's what it looks like. We'll dress this up and make it look pretty later. Right now we ain't worried about that. What I do want to do though, I want to make sure I do get plenty of bone. So I'm going to cut down as far as I can to where those come together so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. Alright, so you can see here's the end of my bigger bone. I'm going to cut that one right at the top of that knob, about right there. You can see there's the big ball part of that. I'm going to cut it just right off at the top. We'll end up with a real nice piece for the trumpet portion of our call. There you go. So that's what you end up with. That's going to be the bottom part of one of the. It's going to be the bottom part of one of the wingbone calls. Set that aside. Take care of our other two pieces here. Those are going to be super quick. You know, again, we're just kind of cutting the ball off on the ends of them. Okay. So there's our three pieces that's going to make the wingbone call. This is going to be the bottom. Next piece. And that's where your mouthpiece goes. So see how disgusting that looks now? That's going to turn into a pretty trophy. Got our other wing. Just repeat. Alright, so I've transitioned into the house. Got the wing bones that I just cut up in this little kettle. Fill it up with water. Put it on the stove. Let it boil. Keep a watch on it. You want to watch them because the water will boil down and you will burn your wing bones up. So just keep water in it. Keep it at a rolling boil. We'll see, probably for an hour or two. And at some point toward the end, we're going to add some peroxide in here and let it boil with it, and that whitens them up really good. Alright, I've had my Wingbone Call on for about an hour now, and I want to show you, I've had to add water lots of times, but I want to show you kind of what this looks like. You'll get to a point of just adding water. When you start, it starts to look like broth. And what I want to do now is I'm going to empty all of this water out. I'm going to drain all of this out. I'm going to put good fresh water in, and I'm also going to add a little bit of peroxide. And I know we've still got a little bit of meat on here, but we'll get this grease out and add some peroxide, and it'll go ahead and start whitening everything up. Alright, just got some regular old peroxide. Added me some more water. Add some peroxide in there. Not a lot, I'm going to say a quarter of a cup, maybe, whatever. And I'll add this probably every time I add a little bit of water back in as it boils. I'll add just a little more peroxide. That really helps to whiten it out really good. Alright, so my wing bones. Let them boil. They ended up boiling for a total of probably about an hour and a half. And this is what you get in the end. What I'm going to go ahead and do now, they boiled for an hour and a half. I put a little peroxide and all that. Go back and watch the video again if you want to hear that piece. Super simple. When I got them out, you can see these little hollow cavities. What I had to do is, and of course, man, it's boiled for an hour and a half and it had peroxide in it. So you had to put your mouth against it, and I kind of got over the trash can, blow the extra marrow out. Same thing with the little pieces. Put your mouth through it, blow the marrow out. Comes right out. If you're having problems getting the marrow out, or if you've got meat on it that just won't slide right off, then you're not done boiling. You need to boil it some more. If it's hard to get out, boil it more. Don't kill yourself. So, but I'm good. I am ready now. What I've got to do, you'll see that some of the bones, they got this webbing structure on the inside, that support structure. So what we want to do, I'm back outside again. I've got my Dremel. Got my Dremel back out, and I've got this little sandstone head on it. And all I'm going to do is take this head and just sort of ream it in this. I just want to clear that chamber out a little bit, because these pieces are going to have to connect together. These pieces of the wing bone are going to fit into each other. And I'm also, you can see I got a little of this stuff. I'm going to kind of polish a little bit of that off of there during this stage. What I'm going to do too, you can see I'm clearing it out. It doesn't have to be cleared completely out. I just need it deep enough to be able to stick this other bone down in it here in a minute. But I'm also going to try to flatten it out on top just a little bit, make it a little flatter. Which that one's pretty good. I'm going to do this side, make it a little flatter. So now I've got them kind of polished up a little bit. This, I promise you, it's going to be real hard for you to mess it up. But you can see you've got 3 pieces, 6 total pieces, a pair of each. So let's just go with one set right now. Let me tell you what you're gonna do at this point. We're gonna continue to use the Dremel, because ultimately we want this to be the bottom, because it's the biggest piece, and then I want this piece to fit inside of it. I'm gonna have to trim it here in just a minute. Looks like I'm gonna need to trim this piece down to get it to fit in this, because I want it to slide in there, and then this one You can see, I think this side's a little bigger, so I'm going to put it there. It's good to go. It's going to be good to go. So no trimming necessary on this part, but I do need to trim a little bit here because I need that to fit in that. And you can see right there, I mean right there's your wing bone call. I've just got to, we'll glue it together at the end, but got a few steps left. But for now, I need to trim a little bit more off of this. So back inside, I've got all 6 pieces fit together, trimmed up with the Dremel, good enough to be ready to glue. But what I want to do before I glue it, since I put them through the Dremel again, and they got still got some dark spots and things like that on them, I'm going to put them back in some peroxide. But to keep you from submersing them completely in peroxide, it works just as good to take them apart, put them in a paper towel, just roll them up, and put this paper towel in a paper plate. Just set it in a plate, pour your peroxide on here, and just keep adding peroxide every hour or so. Just make sure it stays damp, and I promise you that'll do just as good as if you completely submerged them in peroxide. So we'll do that. I'm going to do that again overnight and should be able to finish them up tomorrow. Okay, so I trimmed them good with my Dremel. I made sure each piece fit in its in the piece that's supposed to go with, you know, just kind of like making a puzzle piece, except you're the one that's making it. So use the Dremel to trim it down, and you know, so I've trimmed that one down so it slides into that. I've trimmed this one down so it slides into this, and it's just that simple. I did the same thing with the other 3 pieces. So now I'm up here at my workbench, got some super glue. I have tried super glue, of course, in the past, and I used this the most. I also tried hot glue one time. Hot glue didn't work so good, so I like super glue. So you just fit them together. And that's pretty much it. I mean, you're just gonna put a layer of super glue on each piece, let it dry for just a second, go back, add another layer of super glue, let it dry, go back. 3 or 4 layers of the super glue is going to hold it really nice and tight. There's some other things that you can do. Some of the other ones that I've done, you know, you can wrap the leather around it and glue it, and that helps to make it a little tighter. Mine, I'm just usually making them as decorative pieces, so you know, I'm not as worried about it. But that's what these 2 are going to look like. You know, you decorate them up, paint them up however you want to, and that's how to make a turkey wingbone call. Thanks for checking out Hunt, Shoot, Live. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you can take this and use it and maybe do some of your own taxidermy work on your next big turkey, and save yourself a little bit of money. So we appreciate you. Remember, if you haven't already, subscribe. We got new videos that come out every single Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you haven't, subscribe. Be sure to like and to share, and we'll see you next Friday. God bless.